Today I'm going to be doing the Hunger Games tag. Joey Christopher and Alexander Carpenter did it. I think they made it, like, before the movie, so way back when. And then Pixie Chulu did it with her boyfriend Jim on both of their second channels. They just, like, split it up, but I don't have any friends, so it's gonna just be my channel. They just did that, so I'm gonna do it because I love the Hunger Games, and I think it's good, and I think I should share how I feel about it with people, because why should I? Yeah. So, there's about 12 questions, and let's get started. Number 1. What is your favorite book in the Hunger Games Trilogy? I would have to say the first one, because it's the first one I read. It just introduces the story. It's what made the story, and, like, is what I'll always think of. Like, the first one, when you say Hunger Games, obviously I'm going to think the first one. If you say the trilogy, I'll think of others, but Hunger Games, the first one. And I really, really enjoyed Mockingjay, because it's either, like, you love it or you hate it, because it had a lot of sad parts and a lot of stuff happened in it that people probably didn't want to happen. I think it had a more realistic ending than, like, a happy-go-lucky ending, like some books do, so I think that angers some people, but I love it. I like Catching Fire too, but Hunger Games and Mockingjay, definitely my favorite, but Hunger Games just slides above Mockingjay just because it was the first one and is the one I'll always remember. So number 2, how long would you last in the Hunger Games? I would die before I even started. This was really bad. There's actually several things that happen, but the main thing that most likely would happen is in the Hunger Games, if, like, well, if you're watching this, you've probably seen it, but you know how when they come up, they have that, like, 1 minute for it to count down, and then they can go, but if you step off your landing pad before the minute is over, before that gong goes off, you explode. I would be that kid. I would be that kid to be, like, as soon as they gotta try and jet out of there and be like, and pieces of calcium would be everywhere, and that would be bad. Or I would try and climb a tree and pull Katniss Everdeen and fall out and break my neck. Or I would just fall into someone's knife. I don't know. I don't think I'd last a day. I think I'd die before the minute. Before the games even started, I'd be that kid who would get exploded. So, what can you do? Yeah. Number 3. What was the strangest thing you thought was going to happen in the books? Well, I, thought that, well, I didn't think it necessarily. I don't know. This sounds bad. I thought that maybe Rue would live, and then Katniss would die and pass the torch on to Rue and have Rue start narrating the books and go to her point of view. I kind of knew that when it happened, but I thought it would. But I think a lot of strange stuff did end up happening, that the stuff I thought was, like, overshadowed by what happened, if that makes sense. So yeah. Number 4. How were you introduced to the Hunger Games? Well, I actually read it like this past December, so not that long ago, not even a year ago, and I read them all in like 3 days. But my younger brother, my older sister, my mom had all read them. My younger brother actually had a poster of the Hunger Games in his room for like a year or so. He's had it for a while, like a year or so before I read them. So they had all read them, and I don't know why, like, I didn't. I don't think they told me what they're about, and, like, they just were like, you should read these books. And I was like, what are they about? And they're like, they're called the Hunger Games. They're about hungry people playing games? I don't know. So, I think I saw my sister was, like, complaining about the TV. Yeah, she was like, I'm so upset because the Hunger Games movie's coming out for the books, and the teaser trailer, it just showed her running with a bow and arrow, and that's not how it went. I'm like, why is she running in the woods with a bow and arrow? She's like, just read the books. I was like, okay. So finally, I got the books from my little brother when I came home for winter break of school, and read them in 3 days, and I love them, and I'm so happy I finally read them. I kind of wish I had earlier, but at least at this point they're all out, so I'm able to read them when I wanted to read them. Okay. Number 5. Favorite... 5. It's like 9 minutes, right? What favorite moment that happens in Hunger Games? Like, in the first book, my favorite moment was when Katniss buried Rue in the flowers, because I just thought it was like so amazing, and just like that was her way of showing the Capitol that they don't own her. That was her way of showing that no matter what they did in putting her in those games, she would not succumb, let herself be lost. She would be hurt, and she was sad that girl died, and she didn't like what they were doing, so she buried her in the flowers. I thought it was amazing and empowering, and I loved it. And that was in the first book. I said that. I also really like the moment when she finds out that her and Peeta, when they find out that her and Peeta could be a pair and they could live, and she goes, Peeta! And like goes and finds him and takes care of him, because that shows that there is an ounce of like something inside of her does generally care about Peeta, even though she doesn't know it because she's in these games and she's so confused and just doesn't know which side is up or down, basically. And also, in the very last book, I love the very last sentence. This is when most like the last sentence when Peeta's like, "Do you love me? Real or not real?" And the Katniss is like, "Real." And then it ends, and it has that little like epilogue, whatever. I just love that part. But yeah, those are some of my favorite moments from the books. Number 6. Who was your favorite character? Well, I love Rue, and I cried like crazy when she was murdered, basically, which died. And I really like Peeta, and I love Katniss. I think she's a great female lead. She's one of the best female leads they've had in books, especially in popular books, because the last popular female lead was Bella. And I just think she's taken all the shame that was how terrible Bella was, and she's just Katniss Everdeen is it. She's amazing, and I just love her and think that she's a good, strong female lead, and that's what we need in more books and more movies, and yeah, I like her. Number 7. What district would you live in? None of them. Why on earth would I ever want to live in Panem? Sorry, books, there are a bunch of books where Harry Potter, I would love to be there, and I know which house I'll be in, and I know who would be, and I have a bunch of books I like where I want to be in the world, and I know how it'd be and how to do it, but Panem? No. I mean, seriously. They take people and have them kill each other. And yeah, now I'm past the reaping age, but still. No, I want to live in any of them. If I had to choose, it would probably be 1 or 2, because they're higher up, and I'd be rich forever. Or I could live in the capital and be a good capital to land. I'd be like a rebel of the capital, and I'd infiltrate, and I'd help them win the war. Okay. Number 8. What was the most emotional moment in the books for you? The whole book. When Rue died in the first book, obviously, I cried like a baby, like I said. I was so sad. I was like, Rue! Even when, I reread it, I was so like, and I thought it was real, just the beginning when the reaping happens, and she volunteers for her sister. That's just so sad. And then the last book is really sad, the whole thing. There's just so many sad moments, I can't pick the most emotional, but Rue is up there, and so is the reaping. But number 9, what item would you take in the arena with you? Wow, I have it right here, actually. I'm wearing it. I would take this pen that says, "I heart my unicorn," because then, if I manage to not get exploded on the first day, before the game's even started, I was as awesome as Katniss and survived, then the sign of the rebellion would be a unicorn, and I could replace Katniss, and instead of Mockingjay, I'd be the unicorn. So instead of being like, "Katniss, you're the Mockingjay, we had to save you, the big Kelsey. You're the unicorn, we had to save you, you unicorn, you." Yeah, that would make the book so more interesting. But then the Capitol would probably make mutts that are unicorns, and then they'd be evil, and they stab me with their horns. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. I would cry. I'm so glad Susan condescended through that. I'm sure she didn't think, like, let's make evil unicorns. Number 10. What was the most evil plan someone made in the books? Well, I think the most evil plan is in the very last book, Mockingjay. So if you haven't read these books, I don't know, just spoil it for you. So deal. Just don't care. You know. Was when Professor Coin, President Coin, the president of District 13, drops the bombs to end the war. That's horrible. Like, why do you think dropping bombs and killing people from not only their side but your side is gonna end the war? Yes, it did end the war, but it still killed a bunch of people. And it's evil. It makes her made her no different than President Snow. Like, you're no different than the Capitol people. You just pretend you're not. I thought that was horrible. And I mean, there are a lot of other evil plans, definitely from Snow and from, like, the Capitol people. But that was the worst because she was supposed to be a good guy. And it made her no different than the bad guys. Number 11. What are you most looking forward to in the film? Well, the films are out, so nothing. But I was really back before. No, I was really looking forward to seeing what I read on screen. I was just excited to see how it went, and it met my expectations, definitely. Number 12. Bonus question! 11. 12. Number 12. Bonus question! Who is your favorite villain in the Hunger Games Trilogy? I actually really liked President Snow, so I'm probably the one person to say this. Not because, like, I liked him as a human. I thought he was evil and a horrible person and deserved his fate. But, he was a really good villain. I thought, overall, he made a good villain. Like, out of all villains, he was just good. So was Kato from the Hunger Games. He was a good villain. He was evil, and he was bloodthirsty, and when you want a villain in books, those are the kinds you want. You don't want a sappy villain. You don't want them to make the villain good in that. There's evil through and through, and I get what they get in that. So I really liked him. Those were the two, just because I thought they were good, solid villains. So that's my Hunger Games tag. I'll put the questions below, so if you want to do a video response, you can. Or you can comment in the below, with your answers. And if you haven't read the Hunger Games, or if you read the first one, you haven't read the second or third, even if you've seen the movie, still, read the books. They're so good. Like, that's like all I can tell you right now is just read the Hunger Games. And they're not hard to read, but they're good. And even for, like, older people, they're just, well, obviously, you don't want to be like a 5-year-old reading these books, or like 10 or 11. I don't know if 5-year-olds read. Yeah, read the books. They're just so good. They're solid books. They're sad. There are a lot of sad moments, but they're so inspiring, and they're so good. And I love them. And that's all I'll tell you. So I will see you when I see you, and goodbye. And may the odds be ever in your favor. Goodbye.